Thank you so much for being with us today. Before we talk about your near-death experience, can you tell us a little about who you were before all of this happened? Of course. My name is Sarah. I'm 42 years old, and I work as a high school science teacher in a quiet, small town in Ohio. Teaching has always been a big part of my life, and before this experience, I thought I had a clear understanding of how life worked. Before we continue, if this story is touching your heart, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps more people see it. I'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let us know what stood out to you and tell us where you're watching from, so we can feel connected even though we're physically apart. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel for more powerful testimonies like this. About 6 months ago, something happened that completely changed everything for me, my life, my beliefs, and how I see the world. I actually died for several minutes and went through what I can only describe as an unbelievable journey to heaven. It changed me forever. That sounds extremely intense. Can you take us back and explain exactly what happened? It was a normal Saturday afternoon, just like any other. I decided to go out for a jog around my neighborhood, something I did regularly. Everything felt fine at first, but suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt a sharp, crushing pain in my chest. Before I could understand what was happening or call for help, I collapsed right there on the sidewalk. Later on, I learned that I had suffered a massive heart attack caused by a congenital heart defect that had never been diagnosed. A neighbor happened to see me fall and immediately called 911. By the time the paramedics arrived, my heart had already stopped beating. They worked on me for more than 10 minutes, performing CPR and using a defibrillator to try to bring me back. During that time, I was clinically dead. That must have been terrifying. Do you remember anything from those moments? It's really hard to explain with words, but instead of fear, I felt a deep and overwhelming sense of peace. One moment, I was lying on the sidewalk in unbearable pain, and the next moment, I felt myself rising above my body. I could see the paramedics working desperately to save me, but I felt completely calm and separate from it all, like none of the pain mattered anymore. Then, suddenly, I was surrounded by the most beautiful and warm light I have ever seen. It was brighter than the sun, yet it didn't hurt my eyes at all. The light felt alive, loving, and comforting. I felt gently drawn toward it, like it was welcoming me home. As I moved closer, I saw a figure standing within the light. I instantly knew it was Jesus. I had never seen him before, but there was no doubt in my heart who he was. That's incredible. What happened after that? Jesus reached out his hand toward me and smiled. The love I felt from him is impossible to fully describe. It was overwhelming, pure, and unconditional. I felt completely accepted and deeply cherished in a way I had never felt before. He told me gently that it wasn't my time yet and that I still had things to do on earth. But he also said he wanted to show me a small glimpse of what is waiting for those who believe in him. In an instant, we were in the most beautiful place I have ever seen. The colors were richer and more alive than anything on earth. There were rolling hills covered in soft green grass and flowers in every color imaginable. A crystal clear river flowed nearby, sparkling with light. In the distance, I could see a magnificent city with tall towers that seemed to reach into the sky. It sounds absolutely breathtaking. Did Jesus explain what you were seeing? Yes, he walked beside me and showed me around. He explained that what I was seeing was only a small taste of what heaven is truly like. He told me that in heaven, we will have real, physical bodies, not ghost-like forms like many people imagine. Our bodies will be perfect, completely free from pain, sickness, or weakness. He showed me the tree of life, and I tasted its fruit. It was the most amazing fruit I had ever experienced. Jesus said the tree produces a different fruit every month, and its leaves bring healing. I saw people from every nation gathered around the tree. They were healthy, joyful, and full of life. That's fascinating. Did you recognize anyone there? Yes, I did. I saw my grandmother, who passed away many years ago. She looked young, strong, and full of life, nothing like the frail woman I remembered from her final days on earth. Jesus explained that in heaven, we will be reunited with loved ones who believed in him. He also showed me heroes of the faith from the Bible. I saw people sitting and talking with Abraham, Moses, and David. Everyone was laughing, sharing stories, and enjoying each other's company. It felt like the most incredible family reunion you could ever imagine. It sounds like heaven is full of activity. What else did Jesus show you? He showed me people building the most amazing houses I had ever seen. They were working together, using materials I had never seen before, creating beautiful and powerful structures. Jesus explained that in heaven, we will be able to create and build freely, expressing our creativity in ways we can't even imagine now. I also saw breathtaking gardens. People were caring for plants, trees, fruits, and vegetables, but it didn't feel like hard labor. Everyone was enjoying it. There were no weeds, no pests, and everything grew perfectly. That's amazing. Did you see animals there? Yes, and that was one of the most incredible parts. I saw lions resting peacefully beside lambs. Children were playing with bears and tigers without any fear. All the animals were gentle and calm. Jesus explained that in heaven, there will be no violence or fear, between humans and animals, or even among the animals themselves. I remember seeing people riding on dolphins in the clear river and others flying through the air with eagles. Everything in creation was living in perfect harmony. It truly sounds like a place of deep peace and joy. How did you feel during all of this? I felt completely loved and like I truly belonged. There was no fear, no worry, and no sadness at all. Every moment was filled with joy and wonder. I didn't want to leave. But the most powerful part was being in the presence of Jesus. His love was real and overwhelming. I realized that the greatest joy of heaven isn't the beauty or the activities, it's being fully connected with God. That's beautiful. How did your experience come to an end? Jesus told me it was time for me to return. He said he showed me these things so I could share hope with others. He reminded me that what I saw was only a glimpse and that heaven is even more wonderful than we can imagine. Suddenly, I felt myself being pulled back. I heard a paramedic shout, "We've got a pulse," and instantly I was back in my body, gasping for air. They rushed me to the hospital, where I spent several days recovering. How has this experience changed your life? It changed everything. I no longer fear death because I know it's just a doorway to something far more beautiful. I also have a deeper appreciation for life. I try to live each day with purpose, knowing that what we do here matters eternally. I feel a strong urgency to share what I've seen. I want people to know that heaven is real and more amazing than we can imagine. Most of all, I want people to know Jesus, because his love is what truly makes heaven what it is. Earlier, you mentioned activities in heaven. Can you tell us more about what Jesus revealed? Absolutely. One of the biggest surprises was how active heaven is. It's not about sitting on clouds playing harps. Jesus showed me that heaven is full of exploration, learning, and excitement. I saw people traveling through the universe, visiting distant galaxies and seeing stars and planets up close. Our minds were sharper, able to understand the mysteries of creation in ways we can't on Earth. I also saw people diving deep into oceans, discovering underwater worlds without any equipment. Jesus showed me massive libraries filled with books containing knowledge of the universe. People were learning, discussing ideas, and making discoveries with pure joy, no pressure, no stress. It felt like the ultimate place of learning. That's incredible. How do people relate to each other in heaven? The relationships are deeper and more meaningful than anything on Earth. There's no jealousy, no conflict, and no misunderstandings. Everyone communicates with perfect love and understanding. I saw people from different cultures and time periods sharing stories and laughing together. All divisions, race, language, culture, were gone. Everyone was united in love for God and for one another. Jesus explained that we will have eternity to build relationships, including deep, personal relationships with Him and with God the Father. I saw people having intimate conversations with God, asking questions and receiving wisdom directly. You also mentioned creativity and building. Can you explain more about that? Yes. Jesus showed me that creativity in heaven will be limitless. I saw people painting with colors that don't exist on Earth and creating music that felt alive. There were workshops where people were inventing and building incredible things, not out of obligation, but pure joy. People worked together on massive projects, building cities, shaping landscapes, and even creating new worlds. Jesus explained that just as God is the ultimate creator, we will be invited to participate in creation alongside Him. That's mind-blowing. Did Jesus explain how time works in heaven? Yes, he did. In heaven, time isn't experienced the way it is on earth. There's no aging, no night and day, no deadlines. Every moment feels full and meaningful. You could spend what feels like years exploring or talking, yet never feel rushed or like you're missing anything. Jesus said heaven allows us to fully experience the eternal nature of God. We will always have more things to explore, more things to learn, and more things to create, without ever feeling rushed, pressured, or stressed by time. That's truly amazing. It really answers a concern many people have, that heaven might somehow become boring or repetitive after a while. Speaking of concerns, did Jesus talk about any other common misunderstandings people have about heaven? Yes, he did. One very important thing he made clear is that heaven is not some vague, floating, or ghost-like existence. We won't be invisible spirits drifting around. We will have real, physical bodies, perfect versions of the bodies we have now. We'll be able to touch, taste, smell, see, and hear, but our senses will be far sharper and more powerful than anything we experience on earth. Jesus also showed me that heaven isn't just one fixed place, it's expanding. I actually saw him preparing new places, just as he promised in the Bible. He explained that as more people come to believe in him, he creates new spaces in heaven for them. Each place is unique and perfectly designed for the person who will live there. Another misconception he corrected is the idea that we'll lose our individuality in heaven. He showed me that the opposite is true. In heaven, we become more fully ourselves than ever before. Everything that makes us unique, our personalities, interests, passions, and talents, will be perfected and even amplified. That's really comforting to hear. Earlier, you mentioned the tree of life and its fruit. Can you tell us more about that? Of course. The tree of life was one of the most incredible things Jesus showed me. It was massive, far larger than any tree on earth, with branches that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. Its leaves were a deep, vibrant green and appeared to shimmer with life. The fruit of the tree of life was unlike anything I've ever seen or tasted. Each month, it produces a completely different kind of fruit. When I tasted it, it felt like every good flavor I've ever known came together at once, only magnified 1,000 times. It was impossible to describe how good it was. But it wasn't just about how it tasted. Jesus explained that the fruit gives health and vitality. Eating it keeps our heavenly bodies strong and perfect. He also said that the leaves of the tree bring healing to the nations. I saw people taking these leaves to earth and using them to bring both physical and spiritual healing. It was incredible to witness. It really sounds like everything in heaven has a deeper meaning and purpose. Did Jesus show you how heaven connects with earth? Yes, and this part truly surprised me. Heaven isn't completely separate from earth. I saw people in heaven watching what was happening on earth and praying for their loved ones who were still alive. Jesus showed me how the prayers of those in heaven join with the prayers of believers on earth, forming a powerful spiritual force. He explained that people in heaven are very aware of what's happening here and are actively involved in God's work of redemption. I also saw preparations being made for a future time when heaven and earth will come together. Jesus showed me glimpses of what the Bible calls the new heaven and the new earth, a time when God will live fully with his people and all creation will be renewed. That gives such a powerful new perspective on heaven and earth being connected. Earlier, you talked about animals in heaven. Can you share more about that? Absolutely. The animals in heaven were amazing to see. Some were familiar, and others looked like animals I had never seen before, possibly extinct creatures or entirely new creations. What stood out the most was how peaceful they all were. I saw lions lying down next to lambs, just like the Bible describes. There was no fear at all, no hunting, no violence. The animals seemed more aware and intelligent than animals on earth. I remember seeing a little girl riding on the back of a massive tiger, both of them completely relaxed. Dolphins swam alongside people in the river, and eagles flew through the sky with humans. It felt like the barrier between humans and animals no longer existed. Jesus explained that in heaven, we'll be able to communicate with animals in ways we can't even imagine now. They are part of God's creation, and in heaven, we'll finally interact with them as God originally intended. That sounds incredibly beautiful. Did Jesus say anything about how we can prepare for heaven while we're still on earth? Yes, he talked about this very clearly. He explained that heaven is a free gift, we can't earn it, but how we live on earth still matters. He encouraged me to live every day with eternity in mind, understanding that our actions now have eternal consequences. Jesus said the best way to prepare for heaven is to deepen our relationship with Him here on earth. He encouraged prayer, studying the Bible, and intentionally getting to know Him better. He said the more we know Him now, the more fully we'll enjoy heaven later. He also stressed the importance of loving others and sharing the good news. He showed me how every act of kindness and every moment of sharing our faith creates ripples that reach into eternity. Jesus said that while we can't fully imagine heaven yet, we can experience small glimpses of it on earth, during worship, in deep relationships, and when we experience the beauty of creation. He encouraged me to watch for these moments in daily life. That's such powerful advice. How has this experience changed the way you live each day? It has changed everything. I wake up every morning with a sense of purpose and excitement I never had before. Knowing what awaits us in heaven gives me courage to face life's challenges here. I see people differently now, as eternal beings who are deeply precious to God. It's made me more patient, more loving, and more willing to forgive. After all, the person who frustrates me today could be my neighbor in heaven forever. I'm also much less attached to material things. I still enjoy life, but I don't cling to possessions anymore. I know what's waiting for us is far greater than anything we can own here. Most importantly, my relationship with Jesus has grown deeper than ever. Knowing Him, loving Him, and serving Him, that's what life is truly about. Everything else flows from that. Thank you for sharing something so personal and inspiring. For viewers who may feel skeptical about near-death experiences, what would you say to them? I understand skepticism. Before this happened, I might have felt the same way. I'm a science teacher, I value evidence and logical explanations. But I encourage skeptics to keep an open mind. There are countless near-death experiences from people all over the world, from different cultures and beliefs. While details vary, many of the core experiences are strikingly similar. I also believe the transformation in my life is evidence on its own. The peace, joy, and purpose I now live with are beyond anything I've known before. Still, I don't expect anyone to believe just because I say so. I encourage people to seek the truth for themselves. Explore the evidence, read other accounts, and most importantly, seek a relationship with Jesus. He is the one who can personally confirm the reality of heaven in your heart. Earlier, you mentioned worship in heaven. Can you explain what that looks like? Absolutely. Worship in heaven is unlike anything on earth. It isn't limited to a specific place or moment, it's a constant state of being. Everything in heaven glorifies God, and everyone is deeply aware of His presence. Jesus showed me huge gatherings with millions of people from every nation and language praising God together. The music was beyond beautiful, richer and more powerful than the greatest symphony on earth, yet incredibly pure. Colors moved through the air as people sang, and even the ground seemed to vibrate with joy. But worship isn't only singing. I saw people worshiping through creativity, a painter honoring God through art, a scientist worshiping through discovery. Every activity in heaven is worship because it's done out of love for God. Jesus explained that our deeper understanding of who God is will naturally fuel our worship. It won't feel forced or routine, it will flow naturally from hearts fully alive in God's presence. It really sounds like joy is central to the heaven experience. Can you explain more about that? Yes, the joy in heaven is overwhelming. It's not just happiness like we experience on earth, it's deeper, fuller, and complete. There's a constant sense of wonder and delight. Jesus showed me that this joy comes from being fully known and fully loved by God. On earth, we hide parts of ourselves out of fear. In heaven, nothing is hidden, and yet we are completely accepted and cherished. That freedom brings a joy that's impossible to fully describe. There is also the joy that comes from never-ending discovery and growth. In heaven, we never stop learning, and we never stop experiencing new and amazing things. Every new discovery about God, about His creation, and about each other brings a fresh wave of joy. There is always something new to explore, something new to understand. And each time we learn something new, it fills our hearts with excitement and wonder all over again. There is also the joy of perfect relationships. In heaven, there are no misunderstandings, no conflicts, no betrayal, and no broken trust. We love one another with the same pure and unconditional love that God has for us. The depth of these relationships brings a kind of joy we can barely imagine here on earth. It truly sounds incredible. Earlier, you mentioned that there are no more tears or pain in heaven. Can you explain more about that? Yes, this was one of the most comforting and powerful things Jesus showed me. In heaven, all the sources of pain and sorrow that we experience on earth are completely gone. There is no sickness, no death, no broken relationships, and no sin. I saw Jesus himself gently wiping tears from people's eyes as they entered heaven. These tears were connected to the pain and suffering they had experienced on earth. As he wiped them away, it felt like the wounds of those memories were healed. The pain wasn't erased, but it no longer had the power to hurt or bring sadness. Jesus explained that in heaven, we gain a new perspective. We are able to see how God worked everything together, even the painful moments, for good. This understanding brings deep peace and, surprisingly, even gratitude for the difficult experiences of life on earth. But heaven isn't just about the absence of pain. It's also about the presence of everything good. There is a constant sense of comfort, safety, peace, and completeness that fills everything. It feels like finally arriving home after a very long and difficult journey. Jesus also emphasized that what we will experience in heaven goes far beyond anything we can imagine. As the Bible says, "Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love him." That's incredibly comforting. You've shared so many beautiful things about heaven. Was there anything that surprised you or didn't match what you expected? Yes, there were several surprises. One of the biggest was the sense of humor in heaven. I saw so much laughter and joy. People were playful and lighthearted. Jesus himself has a wonderful sense of humor. Seeing that made me realize that joy and laughter are deeply rooted in God's character. Another surprise was the incredible diversity in heaven. I expected people from different cultures and backgrounds, but the variety went far beyond that. I saw angels, each one unique and breathtakingly beautiful. I also saw beings that seemed to come from other worlds. Creations so extraordinary that I don't even have earthly words to describe them. I was also surprised by how physical heaven felt. I could feel the grass beneath my feet. I could taste the fruit. I could feel the breeze on my face. Heaven wasn't vague or ghost-like at all. It felt more real, more solid, and more alive than anything I've ever experienced on earth. That's fascinating. It really challenges how many people imagine heaven. I have to ask, did you see any famous historical figures or biblical characters? Yes, I did, and it was incredible. I saw Moses teaching a group of people, explaining deeper meanings behind the law. I saw King David writing new songs of praise. I even caught a glimpse of Einstein having a deep conversation with the Apostle Paul about time and eternity. But what amazed me most was that there was no sense of hierarchy or celebrity status. Everyone, whether a famous biblical figure or someone unknown on earth, was equally valued and deeply loved. People were eager to share their stories, but just as eager to listen and learn from others. I remember seeing a woman I didn't recognize talking closely with Mary, the mother of Jesus. The love, humility, and mutual respect between them was beautiful to witness. Jesus explained that in heaven, we will have all of eternity to build relationships and learn from one another's unique experiences with God. That's amazing. It really sounds like heaven is a place of ongoing purpose and growth. Did Jesus say anything about our roles or responsibilities there? Yes, and this part deeply excited me. Jesus made it clear that heaven isn't about endless rest without purpose. Instead, it's about actively participating in God's ongoing work. He showed me people receiving what he called kingdom assignments, specific roles that perfectly matched their God-given passions, abilities, and personalities. Some were creating, some were teaching, some were involved in leadership and governance across different areas of heaven. I even saw people being sent on missions to other parts of the universe, exploring new realms and spreading God's light. Others were helping prepare new places in heaven for those who would arrive later. Jesus explained that as we grow in knowledge and understanding, our responsibilities grow too. In heaven, work is never stressful or exhausting. It's joyful, meaningful, and always done together with God and others. He also showed me how our lives on earth prepare us for these roles. Our choices, our character, our struggles, and even our failures shape who we become for eternity. It made me realize just how important our lives on earth truly are. That's incredibly powerful. As we come to the end of our conversation, is there anything else you feel led to share? Yes, there is one thing I feel is absolutely essential to say. Throughout my entire experience, meeting Jesus, seeing heaven, and witnessing all its beauty, one truth stood out clearly. Everything is about relationship with Him. The joy of heaven, the peace, the beauty, the activities, all of it flows from being in perfect relationship with God. Jesus made it clear that He is the way to this eternal life. His sacrifice on the cross and His resurrection make forgiveness possible. They make it possible for us to be restored to God and to experience heaven. He urged me to tell people that this isn't just a comforting story, it's real, and it's available to everyone who puts their trust in Him. He is inviting everyone to know Him, to follow Him, and to spend eternity with Him in a place more wonderful than we can imagine. Your experience is truly inspiring. One final question. How would you encourage viewers to respond to what they've heard today? I would encourage everyone to take this seriously. Don't dismiss it, but also don't just believe it because of my story. Seek the truth for yourself. Read the Bible, especially what it says about Jesus and heaven. Look into other near-death experiences. But most importantly, reach out to Jesus personally. You don't need a near-death experience to know Him or to be confident about eternity. He's as close as a simple prayer. Talk to Him. Invite Him into your life. Ask Him to reveal Himself to you. And if you already know Jesus, let this be encouragement to draw even closer to Him. Live with eternity in mind. Let the reality of heaven shape how you think, how you love others, and how you use your time. Heaven isn't just a future destination, it's a present reality we begin to experience now through our relationship with Jesus. The more we know Him now, the more fully we will enjoy heaven forever. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your incredible experience with us. I know our viewers have been deeply touched by your story. Thank you for having me. It's truly been an honor to share this. I pray that everyone listening will experience the love and joy of Jesus, both in this life and in the eternal life to come.